This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details. Man.
Two more.
EA.
Go, Paul!
Leber.
We're coming. Welcome back, Nacho Leber. Good to see you, my brother. Things
Great
well?
to see you. Things are well. How have you been this last week and change?
Excellent.
Good.
Ben Leber at Nacho Leber via the X Machine. Thank you, Maple Grove Lock and Safe. Watch Ben on TV. Twin Cities Live, Channel 5, each and every weekday, 3 to 4:30. And here he is. Did you happen to either watch, listen to, or social media from afar? That wild 8-piece they put up last night, and they won a game 8-7. A lot happened with the Wild while you were gone.
It sounds like, yeah.
I mean, they were losing games where it's like, damn, man. I mean, it's like the Skates are in quicksand, and they had a couple of bad losses at home and everything. Then the Stars come back in Joel Eriksson Ek and Kirill Kaprizov. They score 8 goals last night, win in overtime. So that's kind of happening now. The Wolves have a big one tonight, 8:30 on KFAN from Memphis. The playoffs are approaching for the NHL and the NBA, and it's time for the locals to get all squared away for the postseason. Fun time of the year.
Yeah, it's a great time of year. No, I wasn't paying attention much when I was gone, and of course, when I was gone, it was sort of the pinnacle part of March Madness. So definitely over the weekends when I was on vacation, paying attention to basketball more than I was our local sports. But since I've been back, the guys on the power trip this morning were talking about, the wild game and kind of what it all means. And then obviously I'm getting caught up on where the Wolves are at. So it sounds like both of our squads, a high percent that they're going to be in the playoffs. But I know the Wolves are probably a little bit more of a dire situation, maybe in the play-in game. But it sounds like all season long, everybody that I've been listening to says with the Wild is if we can just be healthy, we know what we can be, a high-powered offense. We know that we have a pretty solid defense, although the defense kind of gave up a lot this last game. But if you can have our 2 studs back and they're healthy, and then you've got all the lines set to where you want, I mean, let's cross our fingers that we can start making some waves here in the playoffs for the Wild.
Ben Leber has the work hard gene. Your work ethic is impeccable. You work multiple jobs. You balance a lot. TV, radio, sideline analyst, Vikings Radio Network, plus more, I'm sure. When you get 2 weeks away from that, how great is that? I mean, to just take a deep breath, play from your heart. How wonderful is that?
Can I be honest with you? I have a really hard time disconnecting like
Do
that.
you really? I used to.
So I still very much was paying attention almost on a daily basis to what was going back here with Twin Cities Live. I wasn't maybe a part of every email, but I would check emails. I'd respond when accordingly. I didn't do the out of office reply thing on my email, so you would just get bounced back. I mean, It's fine if you do, but I guess I don't have a problem doing that.
Yeah.
The vacations that we take are very beachy and very chill, so there are times to just check in, and I enjoy that part of our vacation. I enjoy getting up earlier before everybody else, even though if that means I'm cutting off a little bit of sleep from maybe going a little hard the night before and afternoon before, because there's some day drinking going on. I will get up in the morning to have my cup of coffee by myself in front of the sun as the sun is, on the horizon. Not getting up so early. I see the sunrise, but I like sitting there with my phone or my computer and just kind of going through work related stuff. It makes me feel like I'm accomplishing something to enjoy the day.
Me too. All right. But it's not like, for 14 consecutive days, I'm going to get up and by myself sit underneath a palm tree and read a book. So I like to stay connected like with what you're saying. I'm in lockstep. What I really enjoy working multiple jobs like you is the text messaging and the responsible nature of responding in a timely fashion. It's about 90% down when you're gone.
Yeah. That's a great point.
You know what I'm saying? The text messaging sometimes for me, and hey, I and we are blessed to do what we do and that we get the opportunity to do it. But with a lot of it, man, there's a lot of texting during the course of the day and the early evening. And sometimes I'm just like, damn, will this just stop?
Yeah, that's a great point because I am a terrible corresponder anyway. If you text me, I'm sorry. This is really disrespectful of me to do this, but I don't always respond in a timely manner.
Well, timely manner is subjective.
It is.
You respond.
Yes, I will. I will. Mm-hmm. And like for you and I, for this show, when there's a deadline approaching of Thursday morning, yes, I know I need to get back. But if somebody's just asking me a question, sometimes it's 4 or 5 days,
right?
A week before I get back to you. And I know it's an a-hole thing to do. But the point is, on vacation, I do like shutting that part of it down.
Big time.
Because I don't like to be on my phone responding to texts all the time. I like to be, that's the reason why I don't mind an email, because I feel like there's a little bit more, there's like closure to it. Like, I'm going to respond. Here's what I have to say. Let me craft this to put 5 minutes into it. Text messaging, we've gotten so accustomed to being like so many open-ended things. Mm-hmm. And there's so many things back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And then even with just like, group messaging, I'm not even really part of the conversation, but people are commenting on it, and I'm getting the alert that I got a text. I'm like, oh, it's just part of this group text. I'm like, I just need to put my phone down. Yeah. So I do like it from that standpoint of not looking at my text.
We need a favor from you.
Yes.
The favor is fellow analyst and our brother, Pete Bursich, in Booth Analyst Vikings Radio Network. He is starting a YouTube page called Eye in the Sky. Okay, so it's when you go to YouTube, and I'd like everybody to subscribe and give Pete a little wind in the sails here. It's going to be film analysis. Eventually, he's going to get access to like older games and break down all 22 of some older games and big moments, stuff like that. But I had him on the radio a couple of days ago to, I don't know, chat about Javon Hargrave, Jordan Mason, stuff like that. Then the YouTube bit came up. It's called Eye in the Sky on YouTube. Pete Bursich 5'6". And why I say we need a favor is forget the subscribers, being tiny right now. He just started. That'll grow. The intimidation he's facing right now from actually thinking that he's going to be able to set up his own studio, EQ his own microphones, put his own graphics in, cut the whole thing up, get it out in timely fashion. And then I'm like, wow, that sounds like a lot, man. Why don't you just go ahead and pay somebody to do it? And we talked about that a little bit. And then, see, this is so new for him. So then I'm like, all right, so, with the YouTube world, like I'll lay in bed or, like on drives to work, I will listen to YouTube related things. So I've kind of become an elite YouTube mind. But I can just tell by the way they push subscribers and hit that like button and, hit that sub button, stuff like that there are certain things that are important, like frequency. So I'm like, well, how often are you going to do stuff? And he said, I don't know, probably once a week.
I always love that one.
Like, bro, if you think you've got to do it more than once a week if you're going to put all this time and cash into it and stuff. But yeah, just hit that sub button, give him a like on one of his videos, and give him some encouragement. Send him a text. PA told me you're starting a YouTube channel. Any help you ever need or interviews or anything, just let me know, and please hit that sub button for him, okay? It's been stuck on 3 for quite some time.
Well, he's up to 16 now. Okay. I'm in. He has no videos yet.
I'm in.
The key here with
he tried to put a video up. He put a Javon Hargrave test video. He had to take it down immediately. I'm like, pay somebody some money because it was a test bid. It wasn't what was supposed to be there. Pay somebody for these. He was having anxiety over the EQ, the equalizing of a Yeti mic, and he couldn't get around. I'm like, Pete, just pay somebody.
But the key here is anybody looking, and I do encourage everyone to subscribe. Let's support Pete, and there will be videos. And his film analysis is elite.
Hit that sub button.
But search by Pete Bursage 56, all one. Mm-hmm. Pete Bursage 56, no spaces. Because you're going to have to sift through about 85 Alan Parsons Project videos.
The eye in the sky. Oh, wow. He didn't think about that.
So we got it. From a search optimization standpoint, start with Pete Bursage 56.
Yeah, he was so excited.
We'll go from there.
He was so excited the other day about it was going to all be up ready to go Wednesday. It's Thursday.
I always love that one.
Yeah, I mean, so just give him encouragement, please.
Yeah, I will definitely check it out. It's funny because maybe, see, again, going back to the text message, that I guess that's what he sent me was the test video.
Oh, you didn't
when I was on vacation, and I didn't get a chance to watch it because I'm like, oh, this is a YouTube bit. I'll have to find time to sit down and watch it.
No, he needed you.
Wow. That was a test bit.
Yeah, to watch it and see if he's doing it right because you're an elite YouTube mind.
No. I am not. That's the thing. Like
he was looking for affirmation.
The thing that I understand about YouTube, to your point, I know a lot of people, and I've been guilty of this myself, of just fantasizing and daydreaming and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
The reason why people on YouTube are successful is because they're tenacious with it.
Right.
They are. It is a full-time job.
Got to cut up the shorts.
You got to, it's got to be at minimum 3 times a week that you're posting something.
And the thing about it is if you think you're being too frequent, you're not being frequent enough.
No.
Thank you.
It's a full-on lifestyle.
Yeah. It is a lifestyle, and it is a hard thing, I think, to do as a side gig because, if you've got all these other things going on, and you think that you're just going to kind of half-ass this YouTube thing, well, you're going to get half-assed results.
We're up to 20, gentlemen.
Hey, come on. Let Pete crack this thing open.
What's the sub cost?
No, it's free.
It's free.
Oh, it's free.
The YouTube bit, when you subscribe, it's like you're bookmarking. Like you're just connected to it. You can get updates.
So sub, unsub. It's going to look like, he got like double what he got during the course of the day, even though we were with a little chicanery in there.
Let's see how high we can get this during the show today.
Yeah.
Because the key is 2 weeks from today, on stage.
We need him to see what happened.
Draft party. What if we're able to connect with VEN and we could play one of his videos on the big screen during the draft party?
Oh, wow.
With a little subscribe bell and link there.
Wow.
Just, thinking ahead. We got 2 weeks to make this work.
Yeah, I thought, like you said, me, multiple jobs, you multiple jobs. You probably have thought this. I know I have. Is like whether it's faith in goal or faith in football or whatever, it's I want to do this. Hit on my Twitter friends, use my Twitter feed, promote it. And hit that sub button and get the subs up.
We're at 52.
Well, here's why. Because I didn't know until last year, if you get your subscribers above a certain number, they start paying you.
Yeah, they do. And off of views as well.
No, a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you get that thing up to 2,000 or more, it's a 4th job. Now, but it's a 5th job getting it to that number. It takes a lot, like you said. You got to do it frequently, and you got to cut those shorts out.
I will give him all the encouragement that he needs as a one-man band because
Stop it at 56.
When I've when I've talked about that, I've talked about doing something like this, and kind of currently talking about doing this because it's an evolution of things. There's always been more than one person.
Yeah,
and I think the balance becomes like, okay, if I'm going to bring this to the table, you're going to bring that to the table. You're going to do this part of it. Like, great, we got like a team.
Yeah.
How business wise, how's this all going to look?
Yeah.
How's it all going to work? Schedule wise, this is what my week looks like, especially during the season. When would we be able to cut videos? When can we edit it? When can we post it? Like, there's so much of it. And then, like, what do you want it to feel like? What do you want it to look like? There's a lot of research and like, okay, well, that's already been done. That's already been done. Can we do that better? Do we need to do that? Like, there's a lot of market analysis and research because there's like, several billion YouTube content creators out there. So how do you set yourself apart, especially if you're just talking football?
I wonder what Joe Rogan makes for his whatever the Joe Rogan experience.
I bet you. Well, it's got to be like a 9-figure contract, $100 million plus with Spotify.
He signed a $100 million contract with Spotify.
There you
before,
go. Yeah,
but that's not. But that's not including the views he gets on YouTube.
Oh wow,
that was just Spotify buying his show. And
he could be making $40-50 million a year.
And see, it's been preached that like with stuff like this, you want it to be a little shorter, like 20 minutes, 25 minutes, whatever, cut up the shorts. Don't forget to hit that sub button and the like before you depart. I think my man's podcast, I've never watched it in full. I think it's 3 hours. So he's like
Rogan's?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
So he's winning by flying in the face of everything you're not supposed to do with length. And, people are there's this topic here, this topic here, this topic here. People got to search to find it and stuff. I mean, what a world. Holy cow.
Yeah. I would say that from being a Rogan listener that he really listen, he's
phenomenal.
He went against the grain from what all the advice was. Like everybody's like, don't go more than an hour. You're not going to hold anybody's attention. And he's just like, double middle finger. This is what I want to do. And let's see if it works or not. It works and it works brilliantly. Yeah. I would say that more than half his guests could be cut off at about an hour and 20 minutes, an hour and a half. I mean, some really interesting people that he's never had on about interesting topics and this and that and the other. Like it can easily go 3 hours. And like, I can't believe I listened to this for 3 hours. There are some where like, dude, you're just circling the drain here. Like you're just kind of going back and forth around this kind of the same thing.
Maybe he's obligated to do a certain amount of time
he makes
to satisfy the Spotify
He makes it sound like it's not. Like he has freedom to do whatever he wants, however long he wants. I think he's just gotten to this world where everybody knows him as the super, super long format podcast.
Right.
And if he doesn't do that, or if he gets in a mode where he starts backtracking from that, then I think that he's going to join the rest of everybody else. And I don't think he wants to be like everybody else.
Well, and I think part of it, though, if you think about it, like our show is 3 hours, the Power Trip 3.5, Barrero 3 to 3.5. You think about all the people that will podcast our show on a daily basis. And although that they're chopped up into hours, and some people, they'll want to listen specifically for Leber, or the hardcore baseball fan wants to make sure that he listens to this segment. But a lot of people just listen to the whole thing, right? Like it auto downloads. I mean, and with what 350 million people in our country, it doesn't take. Well, I mean, he's got to be really good at what he does. But if you get, in his case, like 10 million daily listeners. If that's your show, like I couldn't.
Wow.
I couldn't work in radio and then also listen to like 2 or 3 3-hour podcasts a day. I would have nothing else going on in my life.
Big reason I don't move the ball on that.
But to some extent, for the person who listens to a Joe Rogan the way that someone might listen to our show or a more traditional terrestrial radio show, it totally makes sense if you can fill that time. But I'm with you, Ben. Like, I love the asides and some bits that they can go off on. Certain guests are better than others in terms of tangents. There's a lot of comedy in the mix. The diversity of his guests is really cool. But sometimes it's like, okay, you talked about this 40 minutes ago. You talked about this an hour ago. And
I've never sat down and I wouldn't even know what his open looks like or his close.
He doesn't really have an open. He's just like, all right, we're rolling. Good to see you. Thanks for being here. That's it.
See, the shorts bite me with him. In fact, he because I didn't start watching this until about 6-7 months ago, and is flipping through the shorts, and he led to a fascination I now have with the pyramids, and exactly. Whether it's the biblical Nephilim, whether it's giants from days gone by, like how they got these stones, where they got them, and how perfect it is. It's freaky.
It's freaky. And then you've seen the new ground penetrating radar that they did underneath the pyramids. Have you seen that? Oh my God.
Are you kidding me?
Oh my God.
What do you mean? Like what are you talking about?
I haven't seen it.
This is going to blow your guys' freaking minds. This was actually all over X and all over social media.
Because like the latest I've seen is in like some of these pyramids, there are rooms they won't let the public go into.
Don't even worry about that.
Oh.
The world, the supposed theoretical, and now they think it's proven, the world beneath the pyramids.
Oh, come on.
So now, we have this LiDAR, I think that's what they call it, this ground penetrating radar. They use it like in the rainforest a lot because you can't really see what's down there because of the tree canopies.
Yeah, I've seen it.
So now we have like
on Mount Ararat, they think they see Noah's Ark.
Noah's Ark, right.
Okay.
Yes. So they're using this technology to go beneath the ground, underneath the pyramids to see what's there. Oh. And there are these cylindrical, spiraling spheres that go 1,000 feet down into the ground. And it's all like you just have to look it up. Yep. Like you cannot, if like that's real.
So other worlds where people are living now?
No. They think that now it's given us a bigger clue, not only into the technology, but like what the pyramids really were for.
Yeah.
And, there's a big conspiracy theory saying that these pyramids were for like basically energy generation. Like they were power plants. And there's these coils that go down into the ground underneath, like 1,000 feet into the ground.
And a bunch of people pulling it can get the stones where they need them to be.
I don't know, man.
These 2-ton stones.
I've been fascinated by the pyramids since I was a kid. And, and I've always thought there's an extraterrestrial presence to the whole thing. Man cannot do this alone.
Right.
The technology that they had back in the day, they cannot do this alone.
Yeah.
There's no way. And then when you look up what they claim, now again, I have not researched to see was this a reputable company that used this LiDAR stuff? Like, I have not looked at that stuff. All I'm saying is if you look it up right now, the first thing you're going to see are these diagrams and these images of what they think they found underneath the pyramids. It will blow your mind.
This is a huge underground city extending over 6,500 feet beneath the Giza pyramids.
Wow.
Okay.
Thank you for that. Thank you.
Well, my afternoon is booked.
Yeah, my afternoon and early evening are booked now because now all of a sudden I'm going to segue from Nephilim and E.T. down to the cylindrical situation and see exactly what they're doing with these stones and what they're doing down there.
8 vertical cylindrical structures extending over 2,100 feet below.
Thanks for sharing that.
Oh, come on with this.
9 to noon continues after this.
Shame on you for saying that. Oh, please. Oh, my gosh. I'm here to serve you. There's something wrong with you.
Welcome back, 9 to noon. Check out the Twin Cities Auto Show. It's presented by Quick Trip. It kicks off this weekend at the Minneapolis Convention Center. Next weekend, by the way, we're talking about football here 9 to noon. Saucy and I, we're doing a Saturdays with Sauce show. We're dusting off the noon to 2 on a Saturday, and we're bringing it to the Convention Center at the Minneapolis Auto Show. So go to TwinCitiesAutoShow.com for all the details. And, of course, thank you, Quick Trip.
Ben Leber, what excites you about the draft 2 weeks from today? The first round of the draft, we got a radio show and stuff like that. The Vikings at 24, but just stream your elite football mind consciousness. What excites you about the 2025 draft?
Well, not one of those guys in the draft on my top 50 big board could ever chisel a pyramid stone or move that sucker in the way that the Egyptians did.
So wait a second.
I'm kidding.
You have a top 50 big board? Or you will by Thursday, right?
I kind of do.
Good.
Here, take a look. There it is.
Oh, nice. Okay. So what excites you? It's kind of a meat and potatoes draft, where it's going to be stuff all over the place. Got a quarterback here. Why is Shador potentially slipping? Oh, that running back went all the way up. So
let me be transparent with my quote unquote big board, right? Mm-hmm. All I did was I took some of my favorite people, including like Daniel Jeremiah and all those guys, right? And a couple of the websites that I respect.
I like this.
And I took all of their big boards.
Yeah.
And I aggregated and averaged, I averaged out where they had all of these players. Mm-hmm. And so it's wide ranging, but I thought, okay, if Daniel Jeremiah has Cam Ward at the top, he's a number 3 player in the whole draft, well then I'll put that up against the other people's. And then, the quarterbacks especially are such a wide range. Like Shador, some people would have him maybe as high as like 10, and then others will have him like 27.
Yep, and you love him.
And I like him.
Well, you like him.
Yeah, I like him.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Before you left, Shador, Jackson Dart, and Cam Ward third. Maybe third.
I would. I mean, I wouldn't. That's not like necessarily a hill I would die on. Yep. But I wouldn't be surprised in 2 or 3 years if that's the way it shook out. Mm-hmm. Basically, that Cam Ward would be the worst of the 3. Mm-hmm. I'm not sold on Cam Ward. I think he's talented. I think he's good. I think he's athletic. That's maybe just not the game that I would gravitate towards. Yep. I think that for all the reasons that you don't like Jackson Dart, you could say the same things about Cam Ward. I like, from what I've seen and heard, I like Jackson Dart's moxie. Same reason why I like Bo Nix last year. I think that he has gamer ability to him.
You hit it with Nix last year, by the way. I did not think you were going to be right year one with that, but you were.
Well, I mean, we'll see how he plays out in the next couple of years to see if I'm right. But I look at, for all the things that you hit Jackson Dart with, like, well, he plays in a system and he's a one-read guy and he looks like he hesitates when he's got to move off his first read. And I'm like, dude, I could say the same thing about Cam. I could pull up 50 clips of Cam Ward doing the same thing, where he's not quite sure what he's seeing on the first and second progression, and then he uses his athleticism to run around and make some really spectacular throws. Mm-hmm. And you're like, well, I really like that. But what went into that athletic throw? Should he have stayed in the pocket? Is it because he couldn't read this defense? So I actually think that all 3 of them have very similar demerits against their game. Now it's about now the thing that I don't know is, I'm not sitting down with these guys and break down film. I'm not doing deep dives in their personalities and what they've been like the last couple of years, for Cam Ward at multiple stops and all this other stuff. But from what I've just seen on some games, and what I look at is, I think that they're all kind of in the same boat. I don't think there's a clear-cut number 1. I don't believe that Cam Ward is a clear-cut number 1. And I could see Jackson Dart surprising people by going mid-first round or something like that, where a lot of people think that he's more of a second-round pick.
One thing you may have missed last week, for what it's worth, 9 to noon, Nordo booked North Dakota State University coach Tim Polasek. And we had a wonderful conversation about a bunch of different things, but
they were just at the White House yesterday.
Oh, it was yesterday.
Yeah, go buy Zen.
The premise was chatting about the championship year. First year, he was Carson Wentz's offensive coordinator a decade ago, building up to Gray Zabel. Offensive lineman. Polasek believes he'll be best as a guard in the NFL. And he can, power running, vertical passing, we can do that, but get him in zone type stuff, he can do that too. Well, he said something interesting in that This year, and this is assumedly with the coaches and executives and scouts and stuff from the NFL with whom he's chatting about a guy who's going to go in the first round, offensive lineman Gray Zabel, who I dig, and I think he'd be cool here. He's feeling kind of the same way he did 10 years ago with Carson Wentz, where Wentz was considered, I don't know, high teens, mid-teens, low 20, whatever. But then all of a sudden, the closer they got to the draft, he surged up to like second or third. I think he went second to Philadelphia or something. He feels the same thing with Zabel. Not necessarily top 10-ish or top 5-ish, but it's like, it's the process started and nobody knew who he was. And then people learn who he is, and maybe, early in the second round, high in the first round. Well, he feels the same thing is happening with Zabel. Mm-hmm. So if you like Gray Zabel, you and you're the Vikings and you're at 20, you may need to move up if you want to get him. Right. But then you get to that Ohio State offensive lineman Donovan Jackson. We had Corey Chavis on the radio show 90 minutes ago, and he went on for about 2 minutes on Donovan Jackson and some individual things he did against those Michigan defensive tackles. Grant and Mason Graham, and then now I'm like, damn, man. If you don't get whomever we want, they're going to get somebody they want. This guy sounds like he'd be pretty good, but I wanted to share that with you before the draft show in 2 weeks about what the coach said about Zabel. Because if you read stuff around, with people, Daniel Jeremiah, people you respect, starting to hear the same thing. That Zabel, if you want him, you probably need to get to the mid to high teens. You think that's too high? I'm guessing where you need to. Okay.
I think that's too high.
You think he'll be available at 24?
Yeah. I actually think
I dig him.
Believe it or not, I think he'll be available. I think Tyler Booker's going to be available. I think Donovan Jackson will probably be available.
Okay.
I think this is a stronger offensive tackle draft, especially on the higher end couple guys. And I think that one of those three guys, now obviously these teams and the Vikings are going to fall in love with one or two of the guards more than the other one or two. And that's how it is for everything. And you got to think about your scheme fit and all this other stuff. But I don't think that I don't think that we have to move anywhere to get the guy that we want at offensive line, if that's the position we're going to go for.
Yeah.
If that's where we're really targeting.
Yeah.
And again, I don't think there's any reason to be aggressive in this draft to try to move up. Obviously, we don't have a lot of things to give up to move up in this draft.
With you.
Considering that if a couple of the interior offensive linemen go before we get to 24, well, there's going to be some interior defensive guys and some cornerbacks available then too. So we are in a really good spot that we don't have to move anywhere. I don't want us to move back. If it happens, I get it. I understand why. But I think this is one of those drafts where you don't get cute. You don't try to play this game. You know that we have multiple positions of need. If your best available guy that you think is going to be at 24 is a running back or a tight end or a safety, I don't think anybody's going to be mad at you for doing that.
Well, with the money Hawkinson makes, and Oliver's paid quite well too, Johnny Munt leaves. And late steam is you can get good tight ends all over the draft, but the two up top, Michigan and Penn State, those are two that could be generational. And I buy into that, man. So I'm with you on that. It's interesting. You have Aaron Jones and you pay for Jordan Mason. I do believe that there are X amount of running backs who will make a difference in the NFL in 2025, including some that you'll find on Saturday. I don't have names for you. I'm just riding that vibe. So if there's a running back that you love, that the team loves, available at 24, you say make a move for that running back. So say there are three interior offensive linemen and you're cool with all of them, but you love two. But then there's this running back who's there, and it's like, we can't believe he's there. How do you split that? How do you handle that?
Well, I'm only saying that we would go. It wouldn't surprise me if we go running back only if something dramatic happens, or let's just say that the top three offensive guards are gone. The top three defensive tackles are gone. Running back for me at 24, it wouldn't be a shocker. I don't put it high on the probability list, but I'm just saying, same thing with tight end. There's 2 top tight ends. If one of them happens to fall to 24,
no chance.
I don't know how you can't not take one of those guys.
Right. I think they both go in the top 10.
No, they probably will. But that's the scenarios I'm playing out.
Like
in the
Ashton Genty.
Well, he's going to go top 5 or whatever.
But if there happens to be video of a gas mask and now all of a sudden there's a tumble, you got to start thinking about it.
I don't know. Gas mask might not. That doesn't have the same cachet of the Laramie Tunsil years. Do you think?
That's what I'm saying.
Gas mask, you might move up in the draft.
All right. Maple Grove Lock and Safe. Thank you. Good seeing you, bud.
Yeah, great to see you. Thank you,
Ben Leber, Nacho Leber. 3:00 today, Channel 5, TCL. Yeah, you know we Twin Cities Live on Channel 5. News du Nord is man.
Welcome back, News to Nord.
Yeah. Yeah, Leber and I are talking about YouTube and touchdowns and touchdown calls and everything. And
yeah.
He just ruined my day.
Oh, he did?
Yeah, we're okay.
Jeez.
Well, no, he didn't. We're fine. We're fine.
Well, how about this, though? We're going to make Pete Bursich's day. 113 subscribers, by the way.
Hey.
The eye in the sky.
Yeah. So what's the proper route? It's you go to YouTube.
Yeah, go to YouTube.
Follow Pete Bursich.
And then search Pete Bursich 56. That's all together.
Yeah.
Pete Bursich 56.
He's going to get to his first YouTube venture. He's going to do it once a week and, try to make about $300,000 a year off of it doing it once a week. What happened? What happened to my subscribers today? They like me. They really like me.
Well, first of all, I want everyone to subscribe to it. Secondly, what's going to happen is he's going to open up his phone. He's going to get all these notifications. He's going to get annoyed, and he's never going to do a video. And he's going to quit the entire thing.
Yeah, I still can't get the Yeti mic EQ'd. Oh, man. Oh, this is just great.
News du Nord brought to you by V Casino at Canterbury Park. Yep. CanterburyPark.com for details. Feeling the felt all year long. Live racing kicking off, I believe, next month. And it's always a party at Canterbury. And it was, kind of a weird party at XL Energy Center last night. The good times was the return of Jules Eriksson Ek and Kirill Kaprizov. The bad times was Macklin Celebrini with a hat trick.
Wow, he's good.
How good is he?
Yeah, I caught goals 1 and 2 by that kid. And then there was a net. We said the name yesterday. Remember when I was like, Will Smith, though? Okay, quite honestly, I'd never heard of Will Smith.
Oh, the Fresh Prince of Palo Alto?
Right, but what a baby face. I think he's 20 years of age from BU. So, I'm like, who's this baby face kid here? And so then I looked it up. It was Will Smith, who's like 20 years. They have, somebody pointed it out, maybe Russo Radio. They have 3 who are going to be headaches for the NHL for quite some time, led by this Celebrini kid.
Well, we were led by this guy scoring a 4-pack in his return to the ice.
Back of the net, Matt Boldy danced it free. Eriksson Ek scores! It's a 4-goal game for Joel Eriksson Ek! And the Wild have added the extra point. It's 7-4 Minnesota.
Now, you're thinking 7-4, third period, the game's over, right?
Yep.
No, it was not. 3 unanswered, including the game-tying goal with less than a minute to go by the Sharks. We're on the playoff grind here. We need 2 points. We can't settle for 1. We go to the extra frame. Well, it was Kaprizov.
Surgeon flicked it back, Kaprizov. Darts in. Left it back, Zuccarello. Left circle, cross ice, Kaprizov. Score!
Well, that's a nice call by Joe.
What a play!
Playing fast.
Kirill Kaprizov wins it in overtime!
And what a point, Joe. An extra point here to give Minnesota 2 points.
Yeah, so you have the Minnesota Wild grinding. 6 of the 8 goals scored by Kaprizov and Jules Eriksson Ek. Tough night if you're looking at box scores for Marc-Andre Fleury.
That's what I was doing.
But a cool start to the night. I think he had 23 or 24 saves.
So they left him out the full game.
Yeah, he went the distance.
That's what I was trying to think. I fell asleep.
Do you think it's one of those things like he's HOF, so it's not like, oh, we got to pull him to maintain his confidence. It's like we did the thing at the beginning of the day. You had your kids on the ice. Everything's good. We're trying to win this game. We're going to keep you in there. And you're going to try to figure out how to stop this thing and help us win.
See, you guys, man. I mean, you guys, go ahead.
Well, in the process, by the way, and maybe this was all part of the grand scheme of the future Hall of Famer Flower.
Yeah.
I think he set an NHL record with like the most overtime victories by a netminder in NHL history.
21-5-4 against the Sharks.
So if this is my last home game in a Wild sweater, if this is one of the last games of my career, I'm going to try to get this to OT so I can snag another accolade. Probably not the mindset of Mr. Fleury. Mm-hmm. But in the end, the Minnesota Wild find their way to victory, and we love that because Calgary had trouble last night against the Ducks. And as we're sitting here right now, as I'm feverishly scrambling to pull up the updated standings,
we passed St. Louis.
Wild. We did pull ahead, and I think we have the same number of points.
Yep.
They
tiebreaker.
Yeah, and we have one more regulation or overtime win. I believe that's a tiebreaker in that mix. And
we beat them. We beat them 3 of 4. So there's the first tiebreaker. Then you get to the next one.
It is head to head before regulation. Okay, all right.
I believe so.
And then the Flames remain 5 points back. After they lost last night. So and they were up 3-1. I think the Ducks came charging and scored a couple in the final, and they lost, of course, 4-3 to the Ducks.
See, you guys got me freaked out now because I brought up that pyramid bit. Now I'm fascinated by it. You got bit by it. We started looking at Nacho Libre's websites and like the cylindrical thing 6,500 feet below pyramids.
Yeah.
So I started to look at that a little bit.
I'm not sold on it personally.
I may not be either, but you got to put in the time to get the context. Right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I just like an aside to it that there's a tall rectangular building on Mars.
Oh my gosh.
There's something tall rectangular on Mars. Well, that's an aside to it. It might be a monolith, okay, but it requires reading later. But I mean, like, how did that get there and how'd that happen?
Well, do they know it's tall? Because I've seen the bit via radar or telescope imagery that there is this square, nearly 90-degree angle geographical feature.
Supernatural. Maybe it's not tall.
That's how me as an unresearched one.
Okay.
I'm starting to doubt the structures. I'm starting to doubt the technology and the supposed imagery that's come out.
Okay. Well, and I respect that.
Yeah.
But again, I'll pose it. Somebody explain to me how those stones got to the top of the pyramid and are laid out there so perfectly.
No, I understand the perfection of it.
Years ago
is unbelievable, but in the same sense, I've read that it also took hundreds of years to construct these things based on how they've analyzed it. So if it did take hundreds of years, you had a lot of slave labor. We are talking about human artistry at the time that was not doing stuff on iPads, manual labor, lever pulley systems. I mean, they were very primitive in comparison to us. I'm not saying it's impossible. Mm-hmm. This is going to have to be for me to go full aliens. For me to go,
I ain't going aliens. I'm going biblical Nephilim or Anakim.
I just have to
the giants.
I have no hard opinion on it.
Yeah.
That's all. It's a mystery, and it's super interesting.
Doesn't bite you the way it does some others.
And if I ever found a time to go to Egypt, I wouldn't go during OTAs like Aaron Rodgers did, but I would try to find...
Mandatory minicamp.
Mandatory minicamp. Mm-hmm. I would try to find a time when I could go and see one of the true wonders of planet Earth.
Elite.
And but that's all I got for you. I think I'm out on the structures at this point.
No, that's fair. That's fair. And I'm not conspiracy theory guy where I don't have to have the conspiratorial take that nobody has. I'm just, I just still see the world through the eyes of a child. So I'm just fascinated by things like this, It
is very fascinating. What's fascinating now for the Wild is that next up they do host, they go to Calgary, on Friday. They need to get 2 points there. Getting 2 points there might be all she wrote as Vancouver's been eliminated.
Aaron Jones is in Kuwait.
He's in Kuwait?
He's in Kuwait. The NFL's USO tour in Kuwait. That's fantastic. Sorry.
Oh, visiting a base and hanging out there. That's cool. Yep. I think, hasn't the Power Trip done that?
I know Seahawk has. Brian Harper with the Vikings has.
Yeah.
I think
it's going to be a really awesome experience.
Too. Yeah. I'd love to.
Yeah, Bursich has done it.
I love that.
No, that's super cool. What is cool as well is you got the chance to talk to Grizzlies Vox Eric Hasseltine earlier today. It's a big one this evening. Minnesota Timberwolves feasting and fighting their way to the NBA playoffs. They're in the playoffs. They're going to be in the playoffs. But where are they going to be? And does the play-in really count as the playoffs? Got to figure that out. Golden State took an L. Was it Harrison Barnes with like a clutch 3 last night or something that pushed San Antonio?
Are you kidding me?
Out in the Bay to a victory over Curry was hot last night.
The Warriors were favored by 18 points in that game.
Yeah, and they took that L. So,
wow!
I think Curry had 30. They have this young cat, Podziemski.
Yeah.
Does that sound right?
Yeah, something like that.
Like LFL waiver wire,
Yeah.
but he's hitting threes every
like
night.
his second or third year.
So they got a couple of players in Kuminga, and they're trying to just figure it out now that Curry's the singular true superstar on that team. Well, they got Jimmy.
Yeah, they got the Bulldog.
Can't forget about Jimmy. But they lost last night, so Wolves still in the play-in.
Wow.
Grizzlies this evening, but with just 3 games to go, you absolutely need this W if you want to find your way into the top 6. So pump for that, and pump for Kevin Lynch, PA, who's around the corner. And we'll break down the Howl and some hoops with Kay Lynch next.
You're listening to 9 to Noon. That's News du Nord, guided by producer and courtesy of Canterbury Park and CanterburyPark.com. Be right back.